Hey everybody, it is the Poor Sports Seattle podcast. Sad day if you're a Mariners fan, obviously. Um, and obviously the Seahawks played yesterday, and we'll talk about that at some point. We'll get back on the Seahawks train, but for now, it's kind of feels like a little bit of necessarily all Mariners all the time um, conversation. I I will say I have not been I have not allowed myself to get super sad about a sporting event since the infamous Seahawks pass on the 1 yard line that ends up being an interception, and the Seahawks lose what would have been their second straight Super Bowl. Um, I felt like truly. Oh, here's my friend Allison. You can cry if you wanna. Hey, listen, Allison's a San Francisco 49ers fan. Um, which means she's a comic. Luckily, she's one of the few people still alive long enough to have seen a San Francisco 49ers championship. She's very old. Um, yeah, I haven't allowed myself to be like sad and depressed about sports in quite a while. Um, oh, this is, she says she was rooting for us. That's probably just because she hates hates the Dodgers as a an A's fan. Where you're like an A's fan, right? How come Allison Fine, my friend from Oakland, did not become a an Oakland Raiders fan? Seems like front runner behavior. Anyway, I haven't allowed myself to get like truly depressed. I remember after that game, I was after the Seahawks lost in that Super Bowl, I was depressed for like quite a while, and like multiple weeks. And I did a podcast. I was doing a sports podcast at the time called the Off Speed Podcast, and every time we would talk to somebody, it would be like a check in. Like, do you remember at the beginning of COVID when you check in and see how's your quarantine, how's whatever? For all Seahawks fans, you would check in, and it was like a chance to see what your friend's mental health was like. And I remember I did a podcast with Kermit Apio, and we just talked about being sad. Kermit Apio is a local comedian, and we just talked about being sad like the whole time. It was um I've told this story on a bunch of podcasts, but when that game happened, when the interception happened, the previous year I had gone to I was not yet doing. I don't think I was doing comedy yet for either of those Super Bowls. I started in 2015, so I don't think I was doing comedy yet for either one. But for the 2013 season Super Bowl, which occurred in the year 2014, I was at Swanee's in Seattle, which was right over the Seattle Comedy Underground. Amazing experience. We tried to find a place to watch the game down there. It was just packed. It was so hard to find a spot to watch, so we found this like little booth with a small TV, and we're just in Seattle for the experience. It was, oh, my camera is gonna die, folks. It's gonna be frustrating if it does. The I gotta mute the comments for a moment. Goddamn Allison Fine. Check out. By the way, this is on Facebook. Oh, it happened. Hold on, we're gonna turn on this stupid webcam. We'll turn on the this one here. All right. So we just wanted to be in Seattle. And we tried really hard to find a spot. It ended up being that Swanee's was like the place that we could go. And it was really magical. We sat with some people, my wife and I, we had like 8 friends in this place. We sat with some people that we didn't know, which is not in my nature. I'm very much not a social extrovert. And we celebrated with these people. I think I hugged them. I have a photo of me crying on my friend's shoulder, or him and I crying on each other's shoulders right after Percy Harvin returned the touchdown just after halftime. And then the next year we obviously felt a very different thing. Sports are very emotional. I have allowed myself to kind of separate, like back off of that and not be as emotional about sports. This is the closest I've come. This is the closest I have felt to being sad and depressed because it felt so imminent. For parts of the playoffs, by the way, it seemed like, I mean, the way that the Mariners beat the Tigers after 15 innings and then to come in and go up 2-0. It felt, I mean, the level of confidence I think Mariners had, myself included, we got cocky. We got cocky after the first two games that the Mariners beat the Toronto Blue Jays in Toronto as fans. There's no doubt. And by the way, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say it because I think if we were talking about a different team that we didn't like, we would believe this. The Mariners choked. There's no way around, and I'm not. It's not just Game 7. They had a 2-game lead that they should not have had. They came in not rested after the Blue Jays had a chance to rest with a 15-inning game behind them, starting a guy who was not even in their rotation who wasn't expected to be in their rotation in the ALDS, Bryce Miller, and they steal 2 games from Toronto. And to not finish the job, if this was any other team, we'd say it's a choke. There's no way around it. The Mariners choked. We watched the Mariners choke. That's plain and simple. And it's frustrating. I'm angry. I'm sad. I'm all the things. I was last night. My wife was gone for part of the game. I had both kids there, and I'm just counting down the moments till she gets home so I can watch the game in peace. I go up to my office, I watch part of the game, and they were up 3-1 and heading into what we thought was going to be that kind of stretch of high leverage relievers that have been very reliable. And I was I texted my wife, I'm I want to watch part of this up here, but I want the kids to see this. I have 2 daughters. I want them to like sports as much as they're willing to. And I want them to have the opportunity, whatever the correct political thing to say is, that's not exclusively I want my parents to, or my kids to have a common interest with me, their dad. I want them to have the opportunity to like sports. I want them to have the opportunity to experience something about Seattle culture and sports culture that a lot of people won't. That especially, by the way, I mean, I've been a Mariners fan my whole life. I think about this. I've thought about this more in the last couple weeks. I was 15 years old the last time the Mariners were in the ALCS, and I'm 39 now. I was 15. I'm 39 now. I was 15 years old the last time they were in the ALCS. If we wait long enough, if we wait the same length of time until they get to another ALCS, I will be 63 years old. So I think about that. I'm the people who are 63 years old right now were my age the last time the Mariners made the ALCS. My uncle Bob, huge Mariners fan. A fan of the Mariners the entire history of the franchise, died 2 years ago, never got to see the Mariners even participate in a World Series. I mean, somewhere, if you believe in the afterlife, somewhere my Uncle Bob is mispronouncing Ichiro's name and still really hates players for just arbitrary reasons, no good reasons. I think a lot about how much he would have been frustrated by Randy Arozarena for no reason. This is but this is the nature of sports, by the way. I had a conversation with a friend of mine, another comic, Gaby Lucas, who was she used to write for the UW Dog Pound. She's a comic. She had a podcast over there. And she's like, the Huskies going to the national championship game and kind of the fallout of all that. Kalen DeBoer going to Alabama. Oh, wait, hold on. I got a call coming in. Why is Jay Hollingsworth calling me? The fallout of all that. I'm going to send a text message real quick. The fallout of all that made her stop liking college football, which I understand. I would encourage people to not do that with this, because this isn't a structural issue with by the way, Jay Hollingsworth, if you're calling because you're watching this, send me a text and I'll send you a link to this. You can come talk some shit, even though I know you hate the Jay Hollingsworth is a comic, by the way. A lot of comics getting mentioned. I don't even know where I was. I don't know where I was headed with that. I want to talk about the game itself because there's frustrating stuff. There's a lot of stuff about the Mariners. Oh yeah, Jay Hollingsworth. Hold on, he liked this thing. I'll invite you in here. Hold on a second, Jay. Hold on a second, Jay Hollingsworth. Well, Jay Hollingsworth is just gonna have terrible shit to talk. I have a feeling it's not gonna be good. Jay, I sent you a link if you're still watching. Come on, I've missed actually talking to you. I might kick you out. I sent you a link. By the way, what a crazy move, I gotta say, for someone to oh yeah, okay, he's in here now. Jay said about my kids, he said, have them choose a non-Seattle team. Smart, if you want them to like sports. And you better acknowledge me, motherfucker. I'm the only one in here, cocksucker, corksucker. That's nice. And yeah, don't make me out to be the people's asshole. It's so funny to call me because I wasn't seeing his chats. I called Jay Hollingsworth the people's asshole because the last sports podcast that I did. Man, this is getting too far out of the Mariners. We were supposed to talk about the Mariners. My co-host used to do this thing called the Wrestling Minute, and Jay is a man of size, used to be significantly larger. He used to be Big Irish Jay, now he's Medium Irish Jay, but when he was Big Irish Jay, he had to wear knee pads or knee braces so that he could walk around all day. And while this guy was reading this minute, this guy was allowed 1 minute, my co-host was allowed 1 minute of uninterrupted wrestling talk. We called it the Wrestling Minute. And Jay Hollingsworth was on the podcast. And as my friend was doing the Wrestling Minute, Jay pulled down his pants, knee braces and all, as though he was The Rock pulling off his elbow pad to do the people's elbow. And here he is. Here's fucking Jay Hollingsworth. What's up, Jay?
I was just fucking with you in the chat. Oh, can I swear on this?
Please.
Okay. No, did you see what I wrote in the chat?
I did. I was just explaining the people's asshole to the handful of people listening because I remember your asshole got described as an enlarged Cheerio. By the way, if you're here for sports content, this is a tough episode for you.
And I was fucking with you in the chat, of course. I was just talking smack. I will say this, I'm not a Seahawks fan at all, and
sure.
The amount of shit talked to me because I was living in Seattle at the time when the Seahawks were going to face the Pats in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I never talk smack. I never talk smack unless somebody initiates.
Sure.
And then I'll respond. So like all the people that were talking so much shit to me before that Super Bowl, afterwards when I would comment, and then everybody's fucking butt hurt. And I'm like, you brought this shit up. You started this stuff. I say all that to say I was pretty happy for all of my Seattle friends that were getting to experience. And I thought the Seahawks, not the Seahawks, the Mariners, I thought were going to go to the World Series. Like I wasn't following after the Red Sox are out. I'm like, fuck it. I don't even care anymore. As long as the Yankees, that was the only thing I was always like, just don't let the Yankees go. So once the Yankees were out, I literally wasn't following anything other than you and like Adam Ray, Andrew Rivers, everybody
the three greats, as everyone would say.
The three Seattle greats. So I was like enjoying like your guys' excitement, and I was like, I'm happy for you guys because I know it's been, dude. It's like the Red Sox in 2004 when we were finally fucking back in it, but
Well, and I'll tell you, I remember that series very well because one of my best friends is a Red Sox fan. And when they went down 0-3 in that series, coming back from that is honestly one of it's easily the coolest thing that I wasn't rooting for the team in particular. I mean, against the Yankees, everyone's rooting against the Yankees. So
right.
But I'm not a Red Sox fan at all, but like that series was the greatest thing I'd ever watched up to that point.
I love. And Big Poppy's my favorite Red Sox ever. So I was, dude. But yeah, it's fucking brutal. I didn't even know that the Mariners lost Game 7 until I didn't know that there was a Game 7. Like, weren't they up like 3-2 or something?
They
Or
were up. They were up 2-0.
I'm not doing this as a bit.
No, you're okay.
Yeah.
They were up 2-0,
Okay.
and then they were up 3-2, and then they were up 3-2, and they had to just win one of the last two games.
God damn. So, fuck. That's
not only 2-0, by the way. They were up 2-0, and both those wins were on the road. So they had three home games. They only won one of the three home games, and yeah, it was brutal, dude.
That is fucking. And I'm not gonna kick you while you're down because that's fucking brutal.
Let me say one thing before you inevitably escape this podcast, because you'll appreciate this as a baseball fan and someone who enjoys this part of it. So George Springer played for the Astros the year they got caught cheating. Mariners fans have booed every player that was heavily implicated in all that for years, as they should, by the way. I have no problem with that. In Game 5, George Springer, I was at Game 5. Nice. George Springer got hit in the kneecap, his back kneecap, freak hit by pitch, gets hit so directly on it from 400 feet away. I go, that's fucking career over, dude. Like, it was so bad. He writhes in pain. He tries to go to first, ends up after 3 minutes coming out of the game. The whole time he's on the ground, the trainers are looking at him. He's trying to figure out first. The fans are just booing him still while he's on the ground, which I got to tell you, as it bugs me so much because this fan base has been called soft my whole life. They're like the Philadelphia fans. They booed Santa. They threw ice at that fucking jail under the stadium. It's something they're proud of. Mariners fans boo one guy that cheated, and we're supposed to apologize for it. Anyways, that guy somehow, dude, I was like, that's a broken kneecap. There's no way. He plays Game 6, plays decent. He hits the go-ahead home run in the 7th inning. That was George Springer hits the go-ahead home run. And it was the guy that hit him was in the game, and he got pulled one batter before, or right before him. The guy that Brian Wu hit him, he gets pulled. George Springer comes up against this guy, Eduard Bizardo, and hits just a tank, dude. And I mean, I don't think his knee hurt anymore after that. I mean, and that's like, by the way, I am a Mariners fan. It was a devastating moment, and I'm like, for everybody else in the world that's not a Mariners fan, this is the cinema that sports create.
Right. Yeah, dude. It's. I mean, trust me. I know your pain. You know, Boston. I mean, we've had a great run the last 20 years.
20 years have been great. Yes.
But before that, dude, all the heartbreaks and I mean, shit. Even last year with Tatum going down, blowing his ankle out, I was like, oh, yeah. Fuck. But yeah, man, I know, to be honest with you, like I said, I kind of, once Boston's out of it, I'm just like, I don't even give a shit anymore as long as it's not the Yankees. But if I would have been cheering for the Mariners to win it all, just because, like I get it. I all the years of fucking the Red Sox not doing shit. I get that, and you're like, fuck, it's getting close. Oh man, that is brutal. So I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry having to deal with that shit. Fuck.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you're 78 years old also, so you probably remember Bill Buckner very well.
78.
What was it? You got a bad connection?
Is that how many years since the Mariners been in the World Series?
No, you're just old enough. What did the Bill Buckner thing happen in 85?
Fuck.
86. I think it was 86. I was just barely born.
You got fucking Corky's in here, Andrew Rivers. Andrew Rivers.
Wait, so we got Big Irish J.
I would say, like I said, seeing everybody, all my Seattle friends cheering. Rivers was the one that I was like, I mean, if the Mariners don't do it, then this will be a bonus regarding Rivers.
Yeah.
Everybody else, I was like Casey, Adam Ray, even Corey McKayla's, great. Andrew Rivers, I was like, all right, maybe I don't want the Mariners to.
I don't know if you saw Andrew, by the way, had a great. He was 2 sections down from where I was sitting on
I thought you
the
were about
Geno
to say a
Swarm.
great set, and I was like, you don't got to lie on the podcast. Anyways, what were you saying? You had a great what?
He had a great. He was sitting in a great spot when the Gino Suarez spot. It was like one person over from him that caught the ball. So he has this great video on his phone of Suarez hitting the ball, and you see it suspended in the air. And I'm sending Andrew the link, by the way. Andrew, join on your phone. You coward. It's also funny. You can see the chat, and you're like chatting on YouTube. We got problems on here. I put it on too many platforms today. I normally don't do Facebook, but anyway.
But you were saying that the Rivers, he was about the ball. I saw it. The it's kind of a metaphor for how the Mariners series went. So close.
It's so close.
Only because Rivers came in here. I told you I wasn't going to fucking be negative.
You were so sympathetic a moment ago, and then
the freaking Rivers brings it out of me. God damn it!
He lost his father recently. Give him a break. Jesus Christ.
I mean, he just didn't want to watch this fucking collapse. He was like, "I'm checking out. I don't want to fucking witness this shit." I get it.
I don't know if I mean, you probably don't have this exact experience, but you know when you're like a teenage boy, you're just such a psychopath. And I had a neighbor, my neighbor died in like a freak climbing accident, like mountain climbing accident when I was 15, 2001, when the Mariners were when they won 116 games, they went to the ALCS, and the only thought I had, I was like, wow, Ken doesn't get to see the Mariners win a World Series. I was like, how sad for him. And I'm like, of course he's got like children he wants to see grow up also. But I was like, he doesn't get to see Ichiro doing it his rookie year, you know?
It's fucking priorities, man.
All right, we have a third.
All right, I gotta go. Jesus Christ.
Joan Rivers.
You wish I had that plastic surgery?
I do, actually. Yes, I do. We all do.
I'm trying to get as fit as Jay right now. He's about to get some six-pack implants. And
hey, Jay's like in the management of a club now. I gotta be nice to Jay. I gotta quit talking shit.
Jay's the only guy that can lose 200 pounds and still be called the Big Irish Jay.
That's all. I didn't lose any weight in the cock. So stupid. Oh fuck! What's up, Rivers?
Hi, buddy.
Like reunion.
Oh, very sad day today.
I know, dude. Before you came on, I don't know if you saw, but I was like, once the Yankees were out of it, I don't follow shit anymore. After once any of my teams are out of it, I really don't give a fuck. But
are you not a gambler at all in Vegas?
I'm not, dude. I've never been a sports
Let me say this about Jay. I've tried to gamble with him on Seattle-Boston games several times, and he refuses to gamble on his team. He'll gamble embarrassment on other teams, but not on his own team.
Yeah, wow. That's 100%. I never bet on my own teams, and that's why I can survive here in Vegas, because I don't sports bet, but. The fucking degenerate friends I have, I can't tell you how many are like, oh man, I took a fucking bad beat on this, whatever. I've never sports bet, so I don't know what the trifectas or the whatever the fuck they're called. Where
parlays yeah.
But watching your videos, Andrew and Casey's and Adam Ray's and Corey and I think Norwest he was at a game, wasn't he?
No, he's been in fucking Europe or something.
Yeah, he's been around town, yeah.
But I was like, it would be cool for like all my Seattle buddies to be able to experience this, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, your 20-year stretch, we just want 1 year in one sport. That's all we want.
I know. You're fucking going to keep losing teams. You're not even going to have options for the others. Jesus.
Yeah, I hear the Mariners are going to go to Oklahoma City. It's probably next. They got to get an owner that'll actually spend some money. So
you'll have the thunder and lightning there.
I will say about
Seattle right now, Andrew.
Huh?
Are you in Seattle right now?
Yeah, I'm at home.
Gotcha.
Just taking in the sadness. About to go for a walk in the park. It's actually a really sunny day today, so I was just gonna go walk outdoors.
Yeah, I honestly was
near no cliffs, please.
Yeah, I honestly was like. Stunned when I saw that, because again, the last time I was looking at what the series was at was when the Mariners were up 2-0, and then I must have seen one of your guys' videos where they won the third game, and so I not following it whatsoever. I was just like, oh, okay, so they're going to be in the They're going to be in the World Series, and then fucking I just saw all the shit. Was it last night that they lost? Yeah. I saw this shit. I was like, what the fuck? And then I just saw Casey, and I was like, oh man, yikes. No, but I know the feeling, dude. I know the feeling. Like,
I was actually being genuine because were you old enough in '86 when the Buckner thing happened to like have a memory of it?
Yeah.
Let's not pretend you weren't, okay? Like we don't have to say your exact age. Jay is only 62 years old. You look great for 62.
I remember back when football players didn't wear helmets.
You remember before baseball was integrated.
And he liked it better that way too.
Where it looks like all the
guys with his body type were crushing. That's why.
It looks like they're in fast forward. Yeah, come on, let's go.
Dude, I was watching there's a video clip going around that was check swings back in like 1912 or something like that, where the batter goes all the way around and they're like, and he held up there, and you're like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah.
It was like Sandy Koufax. He would have struck out 800 more people, but they still had check swings back then. But
genuinely, do you remember '86 and Bill Buckner?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. And do you remember feeling, because you had to be pretty young at that point and not like you had like too much testosterone running through you. Now we're all just estrogen filled fucking old men, but back then you had the capacity to get very angry, I'm sure. What was that like in '86?
I mean, also, so '86 I would have been 15. So it wasn't.
Don't do the math, anybody. Nobody do the math. Jay wants to act in Hollywood still. Don't do the math.
Born in '71. Fuck all that shit. I'll say that. I'm one of the few whites that aged well.
I've seen his
very
acting
low resolution
career.
Camera.
It's mostly kissing other dudes.
Yeah, you get it. Yeah. On and off camera.
That's how he gets the role.
He's the one who Me Too'd Harvey Weinstein, I think.
Yeah. No, I was like, it was more, why not me? You're getting the fucking blockbuster, Harvey. No, but at 15, I mean, I remember it, but it wasn't like, I think it affects you more because of years of.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
So in 2003, the year before the Red Sox, that was fucking brutal. That was so fucking, that was a tough. And so that's why 2004 meant so much more.
It's funny that age 15, because, Mariners, I'm 40, so it was like 2001. That was right in that 16, 17, 18-year-old range. Mm-hmm. That's why, this is hitting us at this interesting time, Well,
I was saying earlier before you jumped on, Andrew, if there was another 24-year gap, I would be 63.
You're not going to live that long.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm worried about. Yeah.
Your heart can't take the Mariners and the brisket and the beer. You got to give up one.
You're like, I would be 63, 2 years past life. But...
2 years past the second date on my tombstone. Yeah.
We'll pull an Old English out on your grave when they win the World Series.
That would be very insulting. I need like a fresh hop IPA, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh man, dude, I feel for you guys. It's brutal. But are the Seahawks doing good?
Say it again.
Are the Seahawks doing good?
They're doing. They played, actually. Their game started an hour before the Mariners game ended last night.
Yeah,
and it was like Andrew had a good tweet about it, but it was like, you're like, oh fuck, I still have to care about sports. Like I have to experience the smallest amount of joy that's so insulting, like a Monday Night Football regular season game after my favorite sport, my favorite team just got.
But a Monday Night Football game too. Any other time we'd be jacked, we'd be flying around the room, but we just watched our star player strike out on a slider in the dirt like he's done, But we hold these expectations for this 24-year-old superstar. Like this team is only building, and we've got to get, but it was an eerie feeling to switch back to sports to watch a football game and be like, I'm supposed to care about this. Like, it was like I just put my dog down and now I'm at the dog park, like trying to, just pet some dogs.
I was in Boston. I was experiencing that, but it was kind of the other way. I was like, we just won the Super Bowl, and then 2008 we won the championship. Red Sox fucking
But-
Yeah.
By the way, the Seahawks, they kept trying to give that game away. There was a chance that was
Yeah.
going to be one of the worst comeback or one of the worst like disappointments that the Seahawks fan
It's like me
Seahawks
on
fans had in
Madden.
years.
I'll throw like 4 interceptions, but I still win the game just because defense is really easy, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's the Seahawks record right now?
They're 5-2.
Fuck, that's great.
Yeah, no, they're having a good year, and it's 5-2 where they were very close to beating the 49ers. They're very close to being 7-0.
Yeah.
They're 5-2, but they like look better than their record even, and it's a promising season. But it's still like, thank you for trying to cheer us up, Jay. I really appreciate it.
Who's your guys' quarterback right now?
Sam Darnold, of all people.
All right.
And he's killing it, you know?
Yeah.
Patriots look good, though.
I'm so happy with fucking the Pats right now, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Fucking back at it, baby.
Oh,
I know.
my God.
Well, it's funny, you know, you only hope for the Mariners to get you to football season. Like, that's their only role in the city. And so
Like,
any other year, you feel stupid, like, actually believing. But then this year, you're like, the AL is so weak. We've got dominant pitching. The bottom of our lineup sucks, but we can figure our way out and make our way through it. And then it just felt like this was actually the year. And it's such an 8-month-long season. It's not even fair to be like you're talking about this guy takes a ball off the knee, or this guy, like the bad luck to stand right next to a 99-mile-an-hour pitch coming right at you and not get hurt all season. Not even throwing out your oblique trying to smash the ball, or, you know, the luck that it takes to even get that far when you're that close. It's like, please, just, you're up, just don't fuck this up. I was like, I'm on the team, like, I was surprised we didn't bring in our closer in the 7th, because that was the top of the lineup, and I thought, like, this makes a lot of sense. Just get these outs, keep this game manageable, and then
So I think that would have been the right move. I agree
Yeah.
with you, but I think that's something that died with Scott Service. People hated Scott
Wait, hold
Service
on,
all
wait,
these
wait.
years.
because all this stuff, I didn't watch the game and I don't really give a fuck.
We will
gonna
kick you
hop
off
out.
shortly.
I got shit I got to do, but I love you both. And,
Love you too.
And also, you guys, if you ever come to Vegas, I got a guest room for you. All Vegas.
You heard it here, folks. All 57 people listening, you heard it. Fucking, we are gonna stay at Jay's.
Sure. Yeah. Look me up.
No, we, not you. Yeah, you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Go do your thing. Talk about your.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, so that you were talking about the bringing in Munoz in. I do think that would have been the right move. I think bringing in Munoz when the best.
I
hitters were
agree
coming up-
with the approach in the regular season of like 9th inning only.
Well,
It
hold
worked
on.
out for his mentality, but in the playoffs in Game 7, those are the hardest 3 outs.
No, I fully agree. I don't think there's any reason why they shouldn't do it in the regular season if it's the same amount of innings. He came in the 8th inning 2 times this year. Last year, he came in the 7th inning and pitched like that exact scenario, something that he would have been, because this is the deal. This is what I feel like a lot of coaches do, and what I actually really appreciated about Scott's service. Maybe I'm not somebody that can ascribe a bunch of value to his like psychological impact on the team or any of that shit. But what I will say is he did a lot of stuff that when it went wrong, it looked indefensible because it went against conventional wisdom. And I feel like that's so much of coaching is just trying not to have a bad post-game interview. And the shit to me was like the right move for sure would have been the most important inning of that game, as we found out, was the bottom of the 7th. And I think Eduardo Pizarro's great, and I think Brian Wu is great. I think Andres Munoz is significantly better especially better than Pizarro.
I mentioned that was Bizarro's first blown save since April of this season.
Oh, sure, I believe that. He pitched great in the postseason. He had obviously like a couple, but
Pitching Ninja, who if you follow is great. He threw the same pitch to Springer and got him to ground out on it, but it was like 3 inches lower, and that's why he made good contact with it.
Yeah. So Munoz came out in the 7th 2 times in 2024. In the 8th, he came in 18 times in 2024. And most of those games he finished or pitched part of the 9th. And I really think that like the weakness of Dan Wilson. I don't know who's creating like the postseason roster. I didn't like the way the postseason roster was constructed, but in-game decisions, I think his biggest weakness is pitcher usage, and it was to me it felt like a guy who just made his bones in the 90s and thought that's the way the game should be played. And that's kind of the approach they've pushed all year. And there's been like a hybrid of the modern, and this is what to me where like the modern approach would have been better. And the modern approach is what you're saying, not what I'm saying. And then what the announcers were saying, by the way.
Yeah.
These old school baseball guys and John Heyman on Twitter, like everybody was saying that's what they should have done. I agree completely. I don't think Andres Munoz has to finish that game. Like, let him pitch an inning and a third and let somebody else finish the game. And by the way, all egos should go in the garbage in the postseason. You know what I mean? Like if someone else gets the save, fuck that. You got to win the game. That's the most important thing. Mike Hansen, our friend Mike Hansen, or my friend, you don't have to claim him, says, y'all think not being able to play any small ball during all of the playoffs hurt us? I'm not a big bunting guy. I will say, to me, that doesn't feel like as big of a thing, but I do think grounding into like 5 double plays in the last 2 games is absolutely brutal, and like leaving somebody. I know. You know, another thing, I'm gonna like as this podcast the next couple weeks, I'm gonna talk about the offseason a little bit, but I don't know what you do with JP Crawford, because there was a play yesterday. There was a ball hit up the middle. Maybe he's positioned in a bad spot for it, but it was not a particularly hard hit ground ball, and they showed him, and he got like 1 3/4 steps. He just does not, and the stats bear it out, by the way. He was in the 7th percentile of defensive value, according to StatCast this year.
There was a throw in this game 7 where I was like, come on, help your first baseman out there. Like
Sure.
it was like a routine throw. Now, granted, they're fast, they're like it's, nerves.
Yeah.
But then he came back with that double play, like iconic photo of him.
The jumping double play is the photo of the game if they win.
Yeah. But that's the problem is, if we start next season with this roster, we probably win our division again. And then if we build through the trade deadline again, the problem is that, we just didn't have a good roster this year. We literally snuck into the playoffs. Sure. We had a hot last month of the season, and all because of a witch. And, and then I was texting you, like the Tigers series should have been a sweep. And then we blew that to get into it. And then this was the first real team we had to play. And it went 7 as it should have been, because we got a little lucky and but like it just sucks with like the dominant pitching just wasn't there. And I don't know if it's guys hyping themselves up for the big starts in the playoffs, but we should have been able to tamp down. But even so, you can't say you got to score more than 3 runs in the last game of a series to go to the World Series. You've got to score more than 3 runs. But you're relying on Robles or Canzone. There was big Twitter fights about who should start and who's, and as a guy who sat in right field for 3 games, Canzone's defense leaves a lot to be desired.
Sure. Well, I actually think that it didn't get a lot of reporting, but do you remember that ball that they ended up calling a foul ball, but Robles took it out? No, so they called it a hit by pitch. Robles took it off his hand, that it pretty obviously looked like a foul ball to me. You might not have actually seen it very well because you were at the stadium, but he took a ball off his hand that they called a hit by pitch, but it hit his hand, his fingers directly. I kind of think he was injured. I think that's why he was out, is I bet he couldn't grip a bat incredibly well. There wasn't a lot of reporting.
You mean?
Robles, yeah, sorry, did I say
on the bunt?
On the bunt, yeah.
I thought it was because when he made a catch and he ran him to the wall again in right field. I thought that was...
Oh, maybe.
I thought for sure it was like an injury thing, but then they started him in game 7, and I was like, all right, maybe he's okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously you can recover from an injury in 3 or 4 days, potentially. Yeah. Mike Hansen says worst defense in the league hurt us in this series. I don't know what metric they're actually worst in, but they were fifth worst. This is actually an interesting juxtaposition. They were fifth worst by Fangraphs defensive value. They were the worst of any playoff team by like quite a bit, by the way. But the Blue Jays were number one. So you could be a pitching and defense team. I was at that game. They showed his on first. I was there. It was so swollen. I'm not sure what this is like. A fucking foreign exchange student wrote it. I'm not sure, but and then Frank Chong says worse than the Yankees. So the Mariners ranked fifth worst according to Fangraphs defensive value, and the Yankees were, where are they on this list? They're actually, am I wrong? Maybe I was wrong. Why can't I find the Yankees? They were 18th, or they were like 13th best or something like that. So the Yankees were statistically significantly better than the Mariners, like by 30 runs of value, which is quite a bit. Yeah, one thing though I will say is we, not to be like a downer, and so many people are making money doing podcasts where they're just like cheerleaders for the team, and I'm just like not able to do that. How promising did we think the Mariners were in 2001? We're like, this is just the beginning of something amazing. And how promising did it seem in, like, I want to say it was 2012 when they traded for Franklin Gutierrez, and they in the offseason, they trade for Cliff Lee and signed Sean Figgins, and it felt like everything was headed in this right direction. Young core, young Felix Hernandez. It could be, just because things were good this year does not really mean you can't count on the pitching staff being healthy. You can't count on Luis Castillo not aging. I will say, like, when you look at the free agent list, and again, we don't need to go too deep into this, but it's Josh Naylor, it's Eugenio Suarez, and it's Caleb Ferguson. And then Andres Munoz technically will show up on those lists, but he's got a team option. By the way, whoever negotiated that deal, whether it was Hollander or Dipoto, great deal, because they have inexpensive team options for the next 3 years, like perfect contract you want for a guy that's a pretty dominant closer.
Well, the thing that I hold on to is that baseball won't exist after 2027,
Sure.
and we'll be in the middle of a World War III with China, and then Otani will get put in internment camp, and they'll be like, he's the wrong kind of Asian. Be like, it doesn't matter, we're locking him up. And
I thought he was gonna fight for both sides. That's
pretty good.
Yeah.
My little Facebook post has got like 4,000 likes on it.
Which one's that? I don't know that one.
The watching the Seahawks game is like your parents just divorced and your stepdad's trying to hang out.
Yeah, that's good.
Feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I'm I don't know. It's sad. The thing you're saying about the strike, the impending strike, is the thing that I thought about, which is like, this might be the second to last World Series before
and
that.
They're going to be real arrogant about, we're ruining baseball. And you're like, okay, well, I guess it is echoing the class warfare that's attempting to go on, I mean, it is happening, but it's just not in a... I mean, politically, I feel like there's a big, like, upper lower class fight where it's like, fuck you, Bill Burr, you took $1 million. And he's like, no, I'm a freedom fighter. It's like, just stop lying to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what happens with baseball, because I do think, several years ago, teams started spending money banking on these regional sports networks. And now they're like, all the teams that were spending that money are like, the networks are closing.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I'll say. I mean, you can be mad about the Mariners not spending money, and I have been at times, but like, they didn't overextend on the prospect of these regional sports networks.
I mean, they banked into Root pretty. I don't know what the actual numbers of it are, but they invested heavily into trying to make Root a thing. And then we saw that went bankrupt this year.
But what teams were doing is they were getting those deals, assuming the money would still be there, whether it was something that they were running or whatever, the Bally's or whatever. And then they were creating a payroll that was based on that. Yeah.
So the Mariners were getting USAID money, and then Trump came into office, and
I mean, I don't know if that was. I think I'm saying they didn't spend any. They didn't spend money, and other teams did, and they're like years in debt, probably. Like
yeah, probably.
And whether I don't care about the owners' pockets, but if we start to see teams have to really cut salary, but they've also got $200 million of salary on guaranteed deals for several years.
Right.
That's you're going to be happy to be the Mariners. It's going to be the one time them being super frugal has ever really panned out into anything good.
Yeah. I mean, it is the right way to do it. It's just annoying.
I do think they're entering the part, they're like good enough now. And what I think that the team didn't do well enough 2002 and on was identifying when they were actually close and like investing and investing and investing. You look at how often you hear Mariners fans say like they don't need starting pitching, they have a great starting staff. And then you hear Dodgers fans be like, "Oh yeah, Roki Sasaki, the top free agent, is like a middle reliever for this playoff series." And they have 8 quality starting pitchers that they keep cycling onto the disabled list over and over again because they like don't have room on their roster for them. Like this is or they'll say Mariners fans a couple of years ago there was like these great shortstops available on the free agent market, and they're like, "No, the Mariners have their shortstop. His name's J.P. Crawford." And it's like, well, how much better would this team look had Corey Seager been your shortstop?
I think a lot of
those years.
It's tough because we don't know a lot of stuff where it's like, I don't think a lot of free agents are lining up to come hit in Seattle.
For sure.
I also think like overspending $200 million on Carlos Correa when he's going to suck in a year or two anyway is not the move. Because then when you don't overpay the rest of the free agents, the other agents are going to be like, "Come on, we know you got the money," and then they're going to gouge you for that. So
I do wonder how much just having Cal hit 65 home runs is going to help be like this. The situation isn't as bad as Teoscar Hernandez said. Or, I mean, I remember the early days of then Safeco Field where Alex Rodriguez would be like, "I've never hit a ball harder in my life," and it was like got caught in front of the warning track. So I don't even know.
I wonder if now that we have all these advanced statistics, I wonder if we can say that was actually only 101 off the bat instead of being like, "No, man, I hit that thing so hard," and you're like, "How hard did you hit it?" We didn't know back in 1942.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that I mean, even if we can get Eugenio Suarez on a cheap deal, like I know his agent Scott Boras, and he's not going to do that. But maybe if he's like, I'm in the twilight of my career, maybe I just am every other day, platoon DH through third base. Like, I think you hold as much of that team together as you can, and you're right back in the fight for the division because. I don't see it again. The AL is just so wide open. Like, and if we keep those pitching, like we'll probably try to trade Castillo this offseason for something while we can. But we've got this next crop of guys that could be something and could be nothing. But
one thing that I want to, speaking of the next crop of guys, one thing that I was frustrated by, and I'm curious if this came across your radar, because I think that like. And you can tell me if you think this is. I represent like a nerdier chunk of the fan base, and calling you a casual fan is not.
I'm a fair weather fan. I'm proud of it.
Well, I don't even know if that's true. I think you follow them, but
sure.
I think you're as informed as you're just not like a statistics guy or like an analytics guy, I should say. They kept talking about in Trey Savage's last start how the Mariners were interested in him, but there were injury concerns, and instead they drafted this guy, Herangelo Sanjay, 5 picks before him. And then you look at Sanjay. Sanjay is a switch pitcher, throws from the left side and the right side, mid-90s from the right side, mid-90s from the left side, high 90s from the right side. He pitched in low A, high A, double A, just the same way Trey Savage did. He was making his way through, and they never brought him up even in September. This was a team with two left-handed pitchers on the roster. By the way, it wasn't the left-handed. There were lefties that beat the Mariners up, but not in the position,
Blue
not in
Jays
like
didn't
high
have
leverage situations.
that obvious lefty guy. Like, yeah, but yeah.
But also like having one more high leverage arm. I thought that's the one mistake they made at the deadline. At the best deadline that I can remember in Mariners history, the one thing they didn't do, because there were guys out there. There was a guy named Brian Baker that I wanted him to get that was traded from Baltimore to Tampa Bay. Like, that didn't go for a ton. Whatever he went for, I guarantee you, if we looked at the Mariners farm system and said, this equivalent guy could have maybe met, even if it's not, he's in the situation where he's pitching to George Springer. That's not what I'm saying. Maybe Eduardo Bizardo is a little fresher. Maybe Gabe Spires a little fresher. Maybe Andres Munoz is a little fresher. Like, because there's another guy that they can rely on that's got a high leverage arm. Orangelo St. J is a guy that's in your organization right now. That would have been like, to me, it made perfect sense to bring him up. And it was like, that kind of like freaky profile remember when Francisco Rodriguez, K-Rod came up and just dominated for like 2 months as a reliever? That's what I thought he could have done that and been very interesting. Certainly would have been better than Caleb fucking Ferguson. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. I'm not sure why they left him in there. I mean, like didn't even at least call him up. And isn't that what September is for? Is to give guys a taste and see what you got. And
well, especially if you're going to have Harry Ford up to do nothing in September, by the way, and have him up to do essentially have him on the playoff rosters so that you have the luxury of pinch hitting and DHing Mitch Garver. Again, this is just like old school bullshit that I hate. And I would so much rather have had another pitcher on the roster, even if it's a guy, St. J, that you're just like giving a shot. We know he's got the profile, but like, yeah, let's see if that, or he's a mop-up guy. The pitcher usage annoyed me the whole series, or both series, I should say. And they got away with it against the Tigers, and I think it ultimately undoes them in the Blue Jays series.
Do you think Kirby should have gone longer there? I know everyone was clamoring for Wu. He was one of the best pitchers all year. I just didn't see anything special in his return that I thought like
he didn't have. I mean, especially because his last start in the regular season, he was so dominant. So like the contrast of how good he was in that start versus like he was still fine. He just looked rusty in both of his postseason appearances, and he still had the velocity. But like,
yeah,
I mean, that was one. The TV guys said they wanted to give him a clean inning. Do you remember? I was trying to think about that. Did they give him a clean inning in Game 5, or did he come? Okay,
because they went with Matt Brash or something like that, and which I was a fan of that usage. I was like, it felt like it felt like instead of Bizardo, you get Matt Brash out there. Like that's like a save situation. Is like you get your best non-closer if you want to save your closer for some reason. Like you get your best guy, but then Matt Brash wild pitch walked in a run or whatever, and then so they went with Bizardo. But I don't know. It just didn't. The bullpen is the hardest thing because no matter if it doesn't work, you look like an idiot, even if you're following whatever your conviction is. It just the Blue Jays looked stupid with their bullpen half the series, and then they got it right.
Wu made Vlad look pretty bad.
Yeah, no. Vlad is a guy that you can get out, you just can't miss. And we were throwing him a lot of meatballs. Like, just brutal.
So, but
it's 162 games. We gotta stop this.
The Kirby thing, I'm ambivalent on because they just had enough arms, and I don't like their pitcher usage. The Munoz thing frustrates me, but again, I think it's just like that's a consequence of having an old school manager. And everyone seems to think that having an old school manager is the benefit. The benefits are what led to all this other success. So if that's true, I think the sum of that is better than the Munoz pitching, like maximizing his value is. It doesn't necessarily show up in the most important moment of the season. I don't think you would expect Bizzardo to come out and give up a home run right away. I don't think you expect Wu to be the kind of guy that's like dominates
Walking.
Vlad, frankly, and then is like struggling against the bottom of the Blue Jays lineup. But that's the other thing. The bottom of the Blue Jays lineup was pretty good the whole series. And the Mariners, like the bottom of their lineup, struggled the whole series.
And those
And
guys,
that's
and those 7 through 9 hitters are like been struggling all season for the Blue Jays. Like that's
mhm.
what's crazy is like I was chatting with Blue Jays fans next to us, and they're like, I was like, who the hell is this Jimenez guy? And they're like, he's been awful all season. I was like, oh,
Sure.
okay, just get lucky against us. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they would have felt that way if I guess you know if Canzone hits. I thought I was like praying to the TV. I was like, give me a Canzone pinch hit home run right now. That would just make my life.
no, I kept thinking he was going to have a big moment, because he
He
kept.
had that foul ball that was like 6 inches. Yeah, but
Yeah, true.
then he only got 9 at bats or whatever because they were rotating him, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Fucking dumb. I hate it. Sports is stupid and it's worthless, and we should never care. And I have so many more obscenities I want to yell, but
Okay. Well, I'm pretty close to being done with this. So if you need to go, you're fine. By the way, go walk. You can have your walk and clear your mind, depression wise. One thing I'll say is the not that this is a young team, and I want to talk a lot about each one of these individual players, but the rotation's been good and healthy the last 2 years, mostly healthy. Bryce Miller obviously had some struggles this year, and so did Logan Gilbert, and Brian Wu wasn't super healthy last year, but like in general, no massive catastrophic career ending or career altering season ending injuries for these four guys. I don't think you can count on that. First off, like point blank,
any
period.
season, yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Every
these
football
these
game, a guy falls to the ground. You're like, no ACL, no ACL, no
yeah.
ACL.
But also these guys aren't going to be cheap for very long, and so you're going to have to start going like, who's the guy, who are the guys that can be kept, and which guys are, like Logan Gilbert and Cal Raleigh have a connection, but I think Logan Gilbert's been pretty cagey on the idea of being signed to an extension, and so do you start to go like, let's find the replacements for those guys, and maybe in the offseason it's not just Luis Castillo that you're trading, but it's another one of those guys, and then the roster starts to look a lot different. Hopefully, some of the reinforcements come from those trades. And if they spend money in free agency, the nice thing about spending money in free agency is they don't have to give up top prospects who are already playing well, and especially the way they've done it historically, where they kind of get the last scraps of what was on the free agent market. But you'd like to see them maybe get in a little earlier. I think that would be extremely disappointing. It was so disappointing this offseason, but I thought it was justifiable because the Mariners didn't seem like they were going to be a World Series team, and then they became close to a World Series team, and you're like, fuck, if Alex Bregman was on this roster and they, didn't, not saying Gino Suarez obviously has a massive moment, but if you get a full season out of Alex Bregman, how much different do things look?
Yeah, even if you get a full regular Gino Suarez season, like even if
Sure.
he's not Superman, but he's just 30 home runs or whatever, you're like, hey, we're cooking and grooving. That was like Rowdy Tellez for half the year, and like all these first base options, um, and then Robles being out for the full year. I mean, this just every year there's just stuff like that. So
And even
again,
by the
if you
way,
start with like 1 through 6 being good players that have a chance at hitting the ball, and then 7 and 9 is kind of rough your way through it, like great. With that rotation, we can get away with that, and we can build at the deadline. And again, free agency is a crapshoot. I don't know what the reputation is, but hopefully, like you said, that can start to shift. And if Julio ever gives a full season of Julio, he'll put up Cal Raleigh numbers, and then
I know that's you gotta hope because he had a really good series overall, like of Mariners hitters, obviously in the playoffs, and especially in that series, you're seeing the best of the opposing team's pitchers. Especially when you're Julio Rodriguez, and he played really well. He obviously leads the game off with a double and hits a home run later in the game. You hope that moment at the end of the game, and you heard, I'm sure you heard it also, the like Brian Woo's being interviewed and he's screaming in the background. You hope that's
how does this feel? Fuck! Like that.
Yeah, you hope that's a thing that motivates Julio to never feel that again.
Yeah.
Because it does seem like he just has an but again, when it counted, Cal Raleigh played great. Julio played great. Really, the guys who struggled the most were like Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, and you asked those guys to do a lot. They both came in relief in game 5 of the ALDS. Like, it's tough. It was I do think that the Mariners did. There was no effort withheld. I think there were some tactical errors, but like they did, they threw everything at it that they possibly could.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm gonna go. I gotta pick up my daughter. You gotta go. Pet someone else's dog. So, thank you for this. It was very cathartic, and I will talk to you very soon.
Go Seahawks.
Go Seahawks. Hang out for a minute so your video uploads. By the way.